I'd like to welcome everybody to the Cascade Stereoscopic Club November meeting, and this month the Cascade International Exhibition, which will be the first thing we show. I'd like to thank everyone for taking the time to attend, and especially anyone who shared photos and videos that we will be exhibiting this evening. We're streaming to YouTube. Hopefully it's going to work this time. To allow the shared photos and videos to be viewed in stereoscopic 3D on the Lume Pad, 3D TVs, or any other devices that support this. And in fact, you'll be able to see that or watch it after the meeting ends. So hopefully that's all going to work today. Note that the live stream is delayed by about 20 to 25 seconds. That's a feature or bug or whatever you want to call it of the way YouTube works. And so if you're going to watch both of them, in order to avoid feedback, you'll need to mute the audio output on at least one of the devices. Now, Zoom doesn't have a button to actually mute your audio, but I think what would work is switching the Zoom audio output device to headphones or something other than the speakers. But in any case, this is all, an experiment, so hopefully everything's going to work perfectly. We all know how things work like that. In any case, what I'd like to do is I'd like to get started. So I believe everybody who is attending the meeting via Zoom has a link to the be able to view the shared images. Typically that needs to be done on a different device from Zoom, but I believe the information was in the meeting announcements, so that's done on StereoPix rooms, and if you have questions, somebody may be able to share some information in the chat. I am probably not going to be paying a lot of attention to the chat. In any case, let's get started. The agenda, as noted, we're streaming to YouTube. The first thing we're going to do is show the Cascade exhibition. That's really the highlight of the meeting. But every month we have a different theme for people who want to share photos. The theme this month is contrast. And then we always have open projector where, anything that you want to submit is, free. And then, free to show. We'll have a couple of announcements. We'll talk about upcoming events. And then what happens is when we're all done with the formal agenda, I'm happy to hang around for as long as anybody else is interested in hanging around. And we can just socialize, answer people's questions, whatever. So without further ado, let's get started on the Cascade exhibition. If any of you have submitted photos and we show your photo, feel free to say something about the photo if you wish to. That's totally optional. People may learn something. I mean, whatever you want to say, or if you don't want to say anything, just sit and observe. But you might want to talk about what camera you used, or if there were special techniques, or anything that might be interesting to attendees. So we'll start with the open section and the accepted images. And so I'll try and allow about 10 or 15 seconds per image. If there's no comments, if anybody wants to comment, then we'll allow as much time as people want to talk about it.
Maybe someday we can do this with music.
And there's David. This is one of his.
That poor kid was so scared of Santa Claus. That image has been accepted by PSA for some special reason, but other than in a competition. But that poor kid was so scared of Santa Claus.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Wonder if that's at a zoo.
Huh.
That's a nice picture for considering a flower. You know, we see a lot of flower
Well,
pictures in
it's
stereo.
It's unusual because it's the back of a
Yeah.
flower.
Yeah, that is true.
So that's very imaginative. I mean, for people who have seen a lot of exhibitions, we see a lot of familiar names on these photos.
Right. That must be overseas in Asia somewhere, because I notice there's Asian writing on everybody's life jacket.
This is from the, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
This is from the ISU Congress in Japan, September.
Okay, thank you, George. That's helpful.
Oh, okay. Also nice the way it kind of hangs out there. You know, the background's fuzzed out. Whoa.
Very shy.
Yeah.
And Dr. Nair is in the meeting. I don't know if you want to unmute yourself and say anything about this, but
Is that a location in India?
I think so. I don't know.
Be my guess.
Oh, that one's mine. That's here. That's in Wichita, in the Cowtown Museum, and he's the regular blacksmith.
Looks like he wipes his hands on his shirt a lot.
yeah, it looks like a hot job to me.
Oh, I bet it is. Noisy job too.
Greg, what camera did you use?
That was the Kucam Ego, I think.
Very nice.
No. That was my Samsung Twin Ring. Yeah, that's the Samsung Twin Ring.
Yeah, one of the problems with having a lot of cameras is remembering which camera you used for.
Yes.
And Steve is a member of CSC, but he doesn't seem to be online tonight. So.
Yeah.
Wonder what that is.
I don't know. You know, it reminded me of some of the fractal images I've generated.
Well,
that's what I always think of when I see it.
I think that's a real photo. I don't think that's
It
a
is.
fractal.
I think it's, yeah,
Like a playground or something.
possibly, sure.
Dr. Nair. That image has been accepted.
Yeah.
Done real well.
Yeah, when I saw this in judging, I wondered if the brown dots on the camel were placed there by people, or there's some kind of count, or if that's what you just get on a camel. Yeah, very fine picture here.
This is a great picture, but when we were doing the judging, nobody guessed who the photographer was.
Yeah. It's got a good sense of depth to it, you know, I mean, modeling. And then the red and the dark tones work nicely together.
And Matt, I don't know if you want to say anything about this photo.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Yeah, this one is mine. I took this a couple months ago. Well, in the spring, you can see by the wildflowers on a hike at Mount Diablo, which is the tallest mountain here in the Bay Area. I actually did collaborate with this. Oleg Vorobyov suggested how I crop it. So in a way, this was this was a collaborative effort, and I used my Sony RX2 RX02 pair for this shot.
Thanks, Matt.
That was in Buffalo at the Knox Museum. I was standing next to Stuart when he took this, and he's stereo photo maker of the mirroring feature. I wish I'd thought of it first, because I have those canoes also.
Okay, so just an interesting comment, because in the open section, everything is legal, including, well, I shouldn't say everything photographic is legal, even if it's altered. So that's a perfectly legal thing to do in the open section, although the altered reality section is really where many people enter things like that. But anyway, good image.
Stuart's in our Seattle club, which I was a member of for many years. Actually, still am, from Kansas. I just zoom in.
Well, Zoom has changed the world.
Yes, it has.
Hello, Steve. We just a few minutes ago showed your photo holes, and if you want to make any comments about that, like what it was and where it was taken, we'd be interested to hear that.
There we go. Okay, so that's actually a bench in the city of The Hague in the Netherlands.
Ah,
It's a metal. It's you can see how it's made. It's hollow inside, and it's just folded sheet metal with holes.
Very interesting. Nobody guessed that's what it was. Thanks, Steve, and welcome to the meeting.
Yeah. I hope I didn't miss too much.
Well,
not
well,
too
probably we've gone through about 16 photos so far, so you didn't miss much.
All right.
And actually, here's another one of yours.
Yeah, it's a nice picture.
Which one is it?
Wire sculpture with leaf.
Yeah, that's here in the park near my house.
It's great composition.
Yeah. Lots of depth.
Interesting title, you know. I wonder if this is again a museum or something, or if just where somebody lives.
Don't know.
That's done well in a lot of exhibitions.
Yeah, it's a nice picture. Joseph Barbera. I'm glad he entered. I think when I sent out an email, his old email bounced.
He has a lot of pictures on Stereopics.
Okay.
Just through the window.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
worked well.
Yeah.
This one. It's an old worm-eaten mushroom.
Now, do you think this is true color or is this
It looks to me like
Photoshop?
It looks, the color's been
Yeah.
enhanced, I'd say. I don't know.
That is in Tampa International Airport. It's quite large.
Yeah, and the what they did with the ceiling, I don't know if that's metal foil or what, but it really gives a spectacular effect.
Yeah, it is very
That's-
clever.
The idea is flamingo underwater,
Yeah,
feeding on the bottom.
Yeah.
That's cool.
good photo, George.
Thank you.
Yeah, nice effects here. Here we go. Yeah, it's cute.
Wonder how they get those with a bug in the air.
Probably, you know, a
Try again.
try again. Yeah, it's
That was taken on our excursion at the Buffalo Convention this summer.
came out good.
Yeah, I wondered where that was. I've never been to Niagara Falls.
Cousins. Now the background's really blurred,
Yeah.
but you can still see the stem. Where the other one, stem is blurred. I mean,
Well, the stem's closer than the rest of the background.
I don't see. I mean, yeah, the rest of the background could be just a a piece of cardboard. Yeah. And here's our friend the spider.
didn't see the bee for a while.
Yeah.
And probably the bee
Yeah,
didn't
these
see the
macro photos are-
spider either.
Clear.
Yeah. This is a nice fireworks picture. Yeah. Lots of reds and yellows.
shop? I mean, or is that real?
That's
Looks like it's real.
Yeah, this one confused me. It's like, how'd that get done?
it's a lake one flipped upside down now.
You think it's been?
Oh, I think it's just very still water and they
Yeah.
flipped it.
So you get to live in the upside down image.
Okay, now I can see.
Incoming. That too is a great bee
Yeah,
picture.
well, basically it looks like this year insects and flowers were, popular subject. Successful too.
Yeah.
Been around for a little bit.
You're right.
But a pretty good, bee and flower picture. I like it. I like those flowers.
It'd be neat if we could get some information about the camera and lens.
I assume that's a pitcher plant.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got a dandelion. This one reminded me of the fireworks picture.
Right.
Those
Yeah.
little exploding things. I thought this was a good, for kind of a simple subject. I thought this was pretty good. The leaves, the spread between the two leaves is probably only a couple of inches.
Yeah.
Nice bird picture. Look at the tongue on that thing.
Yeah.
So we saw this similar kind of flower before. I wonder if it was alive and opened up differently with the time of day or the light, and then he darkened it and then got his picture. Darkened the environment and then grabbed the picture.
Okay, and now the HMs.
Yeah, it's nice. Another good picture. Different from Mark. The shield bug. Wow. Yeah, it's nice. I was there too.
Either
Right.
that or a flash.
Flash, yeah. It's got to be a flash.
Okay, third place, bronze.
Chris Pollen on there.
Silver.
And then, woohoo! Yeah. I'd say both of these that Mark did with the water, give a real cool feeling.
Mm-hmm.
You have a real feeling of what it'd be like to be there.
Okay, and now the altered reality section.
I thought this was nicely done. I think we know kind of what it is. It's like a wood carving, kind of a carved picture, but did a hyper on it and did a good job pulling it out. Unless that's the actual way it looks, but probably had to set the cameras back away to avoid distortion in the image. What do they call that? Lens distortion?
Yeah, what's altered about that? Just the colors or what?
Well, we don't know.
But it's a good image.
Yeah, it doesn't strike me as particularly altered, but maybe the hyper aspect of it is what.
Or maybe the colors.
Yeah, yeah. There is. The colors are kind of unusual.
George, you care to say anything about that one?
Well, I don't know. This section is my weakest, so I try to do anything to alter my ordinary reality images.
Well, this one worked.
It's got a nice Halloween feel to it. Oh. Granted.
Hey, that's actually a carrot that my brother grew. It's not from Chernobyl. I thought it looked like Chernobyl, so I put a whole bunch of radiation warnings on it. But
It's part of the ugly food movement.
yeah,
I think you've redone this since the last time I saw it. It's much better now.
yeah. There's about 3 different versions, but this is the one with the radiation warning out in front. There's one with the radiation warning behind it, and then there's one with hardly any radiation warnings. But the carrot's pretty much the same.
Yeah, I think the carrot's one of a kind.
Yeah, I think this is the best one I've seen.
Hey, David, you use Photoshop for this, right?
You bet.
How many layers would you say something like this would have?
Well, every one of those radiation things are a layer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's probably 6, 7 layers. Some of my images have 20 layers or so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Neat.
Back and forth flipped.
Yeah.
Herb, are these in any particular order?
Yes, going from the lowest score in accepted to the highest score in accepted. Except that some of them might be tied, so it's not, you don't necessarily know that one scored higher than the one before it, but it didn't score lower. And this is actually the reverse order from what appears in the catalog. The catalog, by the way, is online. It can be printed as a booklet, or you can just print it single-sided, whatever you'd like. But that's online if anybody wants it.
Ah. Looks kind of neon, George.
Kind of filter, I guess, huh?
Was that Photoshop or what did that?
Well, not Photoshop, but I forget the name of the program. It has different filters. So this is a picture. First, I kind of use the one that makes like a sphere in Photoshop in Stereo Photo Maker, distorted it a bit, and then I applied the filter.
Thanks, George.
This one was taken in the ghost town of Rhyolite in Nevada, and I used it's a high dynamic range picture that I used a filter on, but it's an actual statue.
There's quite a number of statues there, aren't there?
Well, yes, yeah, and that's the name of the sculpture, The Last Supper. There's a number of different ghost statues in that area.
Boing.
Nice hiker.
Abstract feet.
Yikes.
Hey, this is Matt. I can speak of that one, the Magic Flower. That was Jack Muzakos. He's a member of the GGSS, and he does a lot of macro photography. And the creative aspect of that one was the retinal rivalry, the colored dots surrounding the petals. It was really popular with us, too.
Okay, thanks for the comments, Matt.
Yeah, Magic Flower, that's his. This is very restrained for Jack. Usually he does real fantastical alternate realities. This one is a little more subtle for him.
That's an interesting effect there too. Anybody know where that is?
Well, Jeff is in Australia, so
Yeah, that was interesting too.
Don't get the name.
The Earth is in the background, so you must be on the moon.
That's true. What's it say? Show factory? Shot
Factory. Yeah, it's a strange little building. Strange big building.
W. Good Shot Factory. Interesting picture. Anyway.
You know, that's an interesting shot in Obviously, it is. I don't think Mark's been in space, so he must have gotten it from someplace else. And,
Photoshop.
you know, does that does this meet PSA rules?
Well, you know, you don't know what it's a photo of. It could be a photo of a globe, for all you know.
Aha,
Yeah,
good point.
If you take a picture of a book, with, is that a photo or is that copyright?
Well, you know, I think, you know, any of the judges, if they wanted to challenge it, they would have a right to do so. But I like to assume that, you know, people, you know, enter this with, you know, good intentions. So I think it's a great photo. But I'm not a judge, so I can only speak to my own opinion.
This one was taken in the ghost town of Berlin, Nevada, Berlin Ichthyosaur State Park. Another HDR process picture with my Samsung Twin Ray.
Which Samsung do you have?
The NX 1000.
Was there any compositing in that picture, or is that how the image looked?
That's how the image looked.
Very nice.
Just three different pictures of three different exposures, and then an high HDR processing program.
Yeah, intense.
Yeah.
Almost reminds me of like commercial photography or something, you know, something you'd see in an ad.
So I don't know. I don't know if Lee, if you're listening, but this is your flying through the clouds photo.
You're on mute.
Yes, I am listening, but I'm not seeing anything. I'm on a cell phone. That was taken obviously on an airplane flight with probably this cell phone. And I just took a bunch of images when the clouds looked nice. There were probably a couple of seconds between the two images.
Thanks, Lee.
Yeah, roses and moss. It's interesting. It's okay how you have the wrinkly feeling, kind of almost a skin-like feeling of the red areas. Yeah, there's Steve's.
So this was a Halloween decoration that one of my neighbors had up, and you can see in the background is one of her garden gnomes. And I used Mirror Lab to create the water effect. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
I've never heard of Mirror Lab, so.
Yeah, is that a separate software?
It's actually on my phone. It's an app on my phone. It's quite handy for a number of things.
It worked here.
Yep.
And 3D to boot.
Well, I had to create the 3D by, doing everything twice and moving it a little bit and checking it and then moving it again until it was right.
Yeah, that's the fun thing to spend your time.
Oh, there I am again. So yeah, this one I just printed the flyer with a black spot the size of the camera, like a standard photo, and shot it with the black, and then just superimposed it, several times.
Interesting effect.
Really nice.
I remember that one. That's interesting. Reminds me of a hypersolid.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go there.
That's in a building looking up.
I think so.
Yes, it's in Spain.
Is the colors have been altered, aren't they? I mean,
Well, I'm not sure. I haven't been there, but it is a very fantastical building with lots of colors and lots of strange architecture.
Is it a church?
No.
Yes, it is. I was just there this summer. It's in Barcelona. It's a Catholic church.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it is a church. It's also an art installation by Gaudi. The whole thing was designed, and it's still under construction to this day.
Yeah.
According to his plans, they haven't finished his vision of it.
Okay, and so now the HMs.
Fun picture. So is this one.
where's the dog and where's the rug? Oh, that's my grandson. I had him sitting on a board in the backyard, and I only bought one fish because I wasn't about to buy 10 fish. And anyway, that's, I don't know, that's probably at least 10 layers in that.
And so we actually had an article in Stereo Views where you showed the different layers and how it went together.
You have to get more fish. I just set the camera on a tripod and let the fish swim around. And since the sink was not moving and the fish was, I had lots of fish. Can't see what cards he had in his glasses, but anyway.
Yeah, when I remember the judges discussing this and how many different layers there must have been in this one.
Well, I can remember buying my first hard drive and it was $1,000 and it had maybe 10 megabytes in it. That's when
And the size of a shoebox, or I have one too.
Yeah, it was one of mine.
Mine, I thought I could rule the world. It was 40 megabytes.
Oh.
That's when a picture could fit on a 3.5-inch floppy drive.
Yeah.
Picture. Oh boy. Ooh. Magic carpet. That's interesting.
Right.
You can see how he got that, but how do you change the colors? Well.
I'm guessing he used a light wand. That'd be like a light painting. Light wand would be like a stick with maybe like an array of LEDs that shift colors. And perhaps he's waving it, or this would be a long exposure with the shutter open.
Yeah.
Thanks, Matt. I wouldn't even have guessed what it was.
Quite
And now-
beautiful too.
And now the landscapes, seascapes, and cityscapes.
Boy, we see what
Yeah.
what our brains teach us to look for. It's just a rock with 3 holes in it, but it's a base.
I wondered if that was Iceland. Japan.
It's a steep path.
There's rock. Yeah. I'd like to go see that, but I'm always fascinated with Australia. But
Yeah, this is one of mine. It's from Mississippi Palisades State Park, taken in October. And we went out to see the colors, and there weren't too many colors, but a lot of fallen leaves. So I looked for 3D opportunities.
yeah, good depth.
In Mississippi, huh?
Right along the Mississippi, it was it's just north of Savannah, Illinois.
Oh, okay. That's a nice shot of the city. Yeah, I'd wondered where this was too. It kind of looks like the Columbia Gorge, but that's not it.
I don't think you have mountains like that in the Columbia Gorge.
No, it's just not quite right. You know, but I mean, it's great wherever it is. Eastern Europe somewhere.
And Lee, this is your Kansas oil rig.
Boy, that looks old. I mean, the rig.
Actually, that was in Kansas, way out in nowheres. And it was actually pumping at the time. It was moving.
I wonder if that was Picasso or Picasso inspired.
Yeah, it's Picasso. It's in Chicago, and on the other side of the building, there's a huge Calder. Yeah.
Yep, here we got, it's from Steve, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. On Sandy Boulevard. I took that with the Samsung S4, and I literally held it above my head and ran, and just had the continuous burst going, and just chose the two best matched to get the hyper.
Mm-hmm. And this is Autumn at Maple Hill, Lee.
Maple Hill is a local cemetery. I assume that's what you're looking at.
Yes.
Most of the time I use two Canon cameras on a bar that I could separate at different distances.
Mm-hmm. And the colors came out very good in that one.
That too, I wonder if it was in the gorge. That previous one.
This.
Yeah. Baron Joey. That's Australia. We can assume.
Yeah, this one was taken the same day as the other one I had. And
Were there no people, or did you have to wait?
no, there were very few people there. It was during the week, and I think they were waiting for the peak, because it was not peak. There was a lot of yellow and a lot of green, not too many reds except for the fallen leaves. This one and the other one were both taken with, well, all three of them that I have in here were taken with the W3. George just got back from Australia, and he said he was amazed that he went there in 2001 and he was amazed at all the changes to the city.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in 20 years, I think every city changes. Portland is certainly not the same as it was 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's nice. Wonder where that is. Joseph Barbera.
Wouldn't give me plain brick up in it. I guess they paid him enough. And
Yeah,
did it.
Campanile. That might be in Bell Tower, huh?
Yeah, it looked like a bell.
Oh, about Campanile y Castel.
Isn't that Spain?
Be a good guess.
I think
Yeah,
that's a good guess, Dorothy.
Everything is fine. Thank you.
Yeah, nice lighting.
Almost look like a model,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
with the trees in the foreground especially.
Yeah.
I like the name. Inkakuji?
Kinkakuji.
Have to look that up.
Well, that's Australia again, right? Binalong, I think it's in Australia.
Probably. I think Bob is in Australia too. Bob Price.
Yeah, you could look it up in the catalog. And,
What's HOU?
I suspect this is a typo, and as I said, I don't do anything with the titles, whatever. So it must have been their last hour, referring to the
HOUR, yeah.
their and THEIR. But basically, whatever you type into the entry form is what you get.
I knew those were the rules, but I thought maybe it might mean something that I didn't understand.
I don't need any change. Thank you very much. No, I'm fine. Thank you. You too.
Yeah, and actually the judges don't see the titles anyway, so a bad title or a good title. And,
Right.
It's only after the judging that anybody knows what the title is.
This was one of mine from Sedona, Arizona. I didn't remember what it was, so I had to do a reverse image search on Google to find out what the name of the feud was.
And that's the actual sky that day.
It is. That is. This is right out of the W3. Played with the levels in Photoshop. That's all I did.
Yeah, there's a lot of photos with skies that are better than I've ever gotten. But
Yeah.
A lot of times the clouds get more hyper because they move
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing happened here. Fortunately, they moved.
in the right direction.
Yeah, in the right direction.
I'll try to figure that wire and mess out.
well, unless you're a repairman, I guess you don't have to.
You don't worry about it. That one's been quite successful. I've seen that image a lot of times in a lot of different exhibitions.
Our son lives in Chicago, so every time we visit, I make sure I take pictures. This was with my twin Sony RX1 on a bar.
That's the merchandise mark.
That's pretty hard to take too, because they spin pretty fast, right? The rides. Well, good synchronization there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they spin.
Yeah, no blurring at all. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to catch it right at the peak when it's changing direction.
Mm.
Looks like that was actually made to get inside of. But sure, lots of room inside of it.
Right. And also Iceland, west of Myrdalsjökull.
Pretty colors on that one too.
Beautiful. You know, it's interesting because when we're judging it, we don't know who the photographer is, but, you know, I looked at that and I said Mark Brennan. I mean, I didn't say it out loud, but, you know, I said to myself, Mark Brennan.
Yeah.
And,
you get some pretty amazing images.
And so actually, just a comment is, I collect all the photos of, basically it's just software that collects everything. So when I'm sitting there at the judging, I mean, I had the potential to look through them and see who submitted what image, but I didn't actually. And so, I mean, I'm not a judge, so it doesn't make any difference, but I look at those and I guess who the photographer is, and so.
Well, that's amazing that you can recognize the style.
George, you need to interview Mark Brennan for the ISU spectroscopy.
Actually, there has been an article about him a couple of years ago that the previous editor did.
Oh. They reveal his secrets.
It's called time blending. Take photos over several hours from a single spot, and then you combine them.
Oh.
So it's like HDR, but modified?
Yeah, HDR is all at the same time.
Yeah, it's more than just HDR because you're taking picture of the daylight, and you're taking picture at dusk, and you're taking picture at night, and you're combining them all together. Like you take 20 or 30 pictures like 10 minutes apart, and then you combine them all.
Wow.
You combine them with software or combine them with artistry?
With software, masking, usually layers and masking.
I'll have to try.
Just parenthetically, is Snowdonia is that part of Wales?
I think, yep.
Okay.
The Snowdon, that's the highest mountain, isn't it, in Wales?
Yeah, I don't know. I've just seen that name here and there and associated with Wales.
Wow.
Once again, Iceland, I'm guessing.
So do you have any indication on the distance between the two shots? How do you put there?
Yeah, we don't. So, you know, one of the interesting things is it's always interesting to have photographers who join the Zoom session, because then those are things that they can discuss. But basically, if they're not here, there's no way that we would know.
Yeah. Well, it might be quite difficult if it's from all over the world.
Yes.
Oh, that is, it's not Arches, that might be Dead Horse Point in Utah.
Utah. Oh.
You wouldn't get me within 4 feet of that edge.
I wasn't close to an edge. But they were, yeah, I think they were pretty safe.
Okay, and now the HMs.
Urunga Beach. Yeah, nice effect, George.
Yes, this was taken from our son's apartment. He lives in a high-rise building, and this is from his balcony. I put my 2 cameras apart, and I took this.
So how many distance? How much distance between the 2 shots?
About 15 feet.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see that.
So, from different directions, I put one camera on a tripod, and I was holding the other one connected with a wire. I didn't have 2 tripods. That's how I created the stereo base.
Wow. Must be Australia again.
Mark Brennan, so yes.
Oh, he's in Australia. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's an intensely busy image.
Yes, I apologize for the lack of imagination.
When you get so many good photos, you don't need to apologize.
Yeah.
No, I took all those in one night, and this was like a couple of weeks ago. And for this one, I had to go to the rooftop. He lives at the top floor, but if you go to the next floor, it's the roof. So to get a view from that side of Chicago, I need to go to the roof.
So was it windy then up there?
No, not really. And these are like 5-second exposures.
And were you close to the edge?
Yeah. As close as I could get.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay, so I know there may be people here from the East Coast, and you know it's getting late there. So what I want to do is I just want to thank everybody who came. I hope you'll stay around, see some of our own photographs. But I just want to mention that anybody who has not previously made a request, if you send me an email or just put something in the chat with your email address, I will add you to our mailing list to receive 2 complimentary issues of the club newsletter, Stereo Views. And I'd like to basically say, there's no obligation. What we obviously would like is for you to say, boy, this is a great newsletter. I'd like to join the club. But there's no obligation and no hard feelings if you decide not to. Anyway, if you just put in a request by either email or in the chat, I will send that to you. And basically, our meetings are always free and open to the public. There's no obligation to join, although we invite people to join. And apologies for leaving out the T from Bob's name. Bob Curtis submitted theme photos. The theme for this month was contrast, and so without further ado, here are Bob's photos.
That's okay, Herb. I've been called worse. So. I looked up contrast on Google, and I selected images. This is one of the images that came up, and I just put it through the Leia converter to try and get some 3D out of it.
Well, it worked.
Yeah.
Looks like one of those, well, this one too. Looks like one of those AI pictures.
Yeah. This is the same deal. Leia converter. This is a picture I took down in St. Petersburg, Florida. I'm told that things that have like candles or campfires make a lot of contrast, so I included this one. It was just taken with a W3, so it was an MPO. I split it, so I had 2 JPEGs, and I sent the left image through the converter so I could try and get some depth out of the flat painting that it started out as. This is a really cool museum down there. It's called the James Museum of Western and Wildlife Art. The James is the guy, Raymond James Investment Company. He spent $75 million creating this building for his collection. It's just fantastic. He put like veined sandstone on the wall, so it looks like we're walking through a canyon down in the southwest. Fantastic sculptures in there too. This is another. This is from the Imagine Museum of Glass Art in St. Petersburg. This
almost looks like upside down. If you turn the glass over, it looks.
It's just an awesome museum with so many unique things. I'll probably do an open projector on it in the future.
Is it pseudo or stereo there?
I think it's pseudo.
Yeah,
Did I pseudo it?
Yeah.
It got switched.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
You can
Much better. That's cool.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't affix it in real time because this is in StereoPix rooms. So if I were sharing things from Stereo Photo Maker, I could switch it, but I can't. So
This is another one from the same museum. This is all glass stuff. Same museum.
That's neat.
W3.
That's very interesting. Is that St. Petersburg, you said?
Say again?
St. Petersburg, Florida?
St. Petersburg, yes. This thing was just mesmerizing. It's got mirrors in it and these lights and it just.
I think it was in the movie Glass Onion.
Oh.
You know the second movie with Daniel Craig, the mystery movie. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the sculpture was in the movie.
I took about 1 million pictures of that thing. I was just fascinated by it.
Yeah, I couldn't understand how it worked because even in 2D, it looked like, there was a lot of depth in there.
Yeah.
Very nice.
This is
Another pseudo.
Pseudo again? Oh, you know why I had a problem? Because I think I took this with my phone. I had trouble figuring out which side was which for my phone photos.
So,
Apologize for that.
so one of the things I always do when I'm taking cha-chas is I always take the left one first and then the right one, so that I never have to strain my brain to figure that out. It's always
Yeah, I do too, so I don't know why this happened.
It's easiest to check in anaglyph. Just put it in Stereo Photo Maker and check it in anaglyph. You'll see if the lines go the right way.
Okay. This was just a painting on the wall again. I split it, sent it through the converter, and it did give it some depth, I thought.
It did a good job.
Yeah, a remarkably good job.
And this is just a building in St. Petersburg, two-story building, and somebody painted Marilyn Monroe there and did a fantastic job on it. It's a huge, huge painting.
That's not graffiti. That's a beautiful art.
Yeah.
Good contrast.
Yeah.
Okay, and Ken.
Okay, this is this fall in my backyard. Those are dwarf burning bushes. And I thought there was a good contrast between the red and the yellow leaves on the ground and the trees in the background. I apologize to anybody who has to look at it in anaglyph. Looks a lot better in either interlace or parallel. And the contrast here is good and evil with Ariel and, is it Ursula? I think it's Ursula. Back. And also a contrast between 2D and 3D. Obviously the good guys are all in 3D. And this is a contrast between small and big. It's a little bit crooked, and I tried to, I tried to level it out in Stereo Photo Maker, but it got rid of the container for the bonsai. So you couldn't tell it, then it looked like two big trees.
Yeah.
So I left it crooked. And those were all these were taken with a W3.
Yeah, I wonder if you actually would cut totally crop the picture and don't show the pot, if it would make a big difference.
You just don't get the perspective if you don't see the pot.
Yeah. But you wonder if it's a branch of the tree or...
Yeah.
Right. I've always liked those bonsai.
They're easy to do, to take in pictures on stereo, right? Instead of big trees.
Yes.
Well, I had a lot of them, but that was the one that had it where they both looked the same, the big one and the little one.
So I couldn't decide whether you wanted high contrast or low contrast or color contrast. So bear with me here.
One of the wonderful things about vague themes is that you can do anything that you want.
And so I have. I looked everywhere for something low contrast, and I just couldn't find anything. So that's a mission for me now. Anyway, this bee is very backlit and contrasty. And this is, your ultimate contrast, the silhouette.
Oh.
Yeah, and this is high contrast color. And this is created once again in Mirror Lab using, I think this was a photo of some road construction that I ran through a filter and did some manipulation, took 2 images and got this.
I never would have guessed it was road construction.
Yeah.
So this is obviously a high contrast color.
Crazy, man.
Could be a robot.
Yeah, I think he took too much. You can see it in his eyes. Okay, so this one, I took a photo of a detail of a glass paperweight, and it was 2D, and then I ran it through, again, using Mirror Lab, and you used the glass ball filter to turn it back into a round marble. Basically, the background is what the flat image looked like.
Oh, okay.
That's neat.
So it went from a sphere to a flat image and then back to a sphere now. And this is again Mirror Lab. And I almost couldn't decide which way I liked it, and because the pseudo also looks kind of cool. But yeah, I decided on this one.
Regular looks better to me. Pseudo's kind of hard to see.
Yeah, nice effects. Very nice effects. I mean, you really haven't seen something quite like this before. Not recently, at least.
And this started as a flower, and once again used Mirror Lab, and this is obviously highly saturated in Photoshop in GIMP. Sorry.
Oh wow!
And this again, you get the highest contrast possible. The silhouette, and then with the high contrast colors in the background. That was taken on shaving a strand at the beach. And the last one, or not, maybe not the last one, but the next one is the original image, which was kind of the lowest contrast image that I could find, really. Which I then had turned into a high contrast image, so I thought I'd show this one too.
Yeah, I'm glad you showed the high contrast one first.
Yeah.
Right, and this is a high contrast subject on a low contrast background.
Okay.
Thanks, Dave.
And so basically, I think probably most people know I am a fan of embroidered shirts, and this is actually the shirt I'm wearing tonight. And so what I did, and for close-ups, I just love what I can do with the red hydrogen 1. So I basically, before I put on the shirt, I just set it on a table and took a photo from probably about 6-7 inches away, and took it at about a 45-degree angle so there would be some depth in it. And so, and the metallic gold thread really gives some high contrast against the black. So that's my contrast photo. And Dave?
Well, the only thing I could think of is contrast in time. So these are all contrast, yes and no way. Yes, I'll have it, and no way I don't want it. So here we go. There's the biggest TV I ever saw. And it's about twice as big as 2 of Herb's TVs. That's in, where that was in Korea at LG, like it says up there. And there's what you don't want. That's 1950s TV with Lawrence Welk. Of course, Lawrence was photoshopped in there. Oh, hey, there's a Lamborghini. I'll have one of those, and you can see around the Lamborghini on the top how I had to convert it. It's a picture. Had to convert it to 3D. Yeah. And here's a Lamborghini too.
Oh my!
I guess Lamborghini makes things other than cars. The next picture proves that it's a Lamborghini. Oh no! I had a picture of the actual sign.
I can see it there.
Yeah, that's my friend. Oh, here's the cell phone. I obviously had to Photoshop it in there, but normally I should have taken with my hand. And here's the cell phone. Here's the phones of the 30s, I think. I had an old friend that gave me that. Anyway, that's all, folks.
Okay, and Jim, if he's still on there.
I see Jim's image there, Zoom image.
So you're muted, Jim.
Okay, now can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
No, that's not my picture. Let's see. I'm having trouble with the pictures. I see a picture of a telephone.
Oh, so just give it a few seconds, because if you're using StereoPix rooms, there's a bit of a delay.
Okay.
This is basically there's a bunch of red-blue anaglyph glasses.
Oh, that's our church had an art show, and that was my display.
Okay.
And the idea was for people to, after they enjoyed, one panel there tells how I make anaglyphs, and another one is another aspect. And then there's a big pile of 3D glasses for invited people to take them home. And those are glasses that I had custom printed, and with the instructions inside about how to see 3D on the internet.
Okay, and this
so
is...
I really get a kick at giving those away.
Yep, and this is a photo of our tables at the OMSI Science Festival.
Yeah, with Gary, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You know, I don't see a lot of pictures of myself, so that's kind of fun.
Don't we all notice when it's me?
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
About 2 months ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just over 2 months.
Yeah, it was in September.
September, yeah.
So, I think mid-September, so it's
Yeah.
a bit over 2 months ago.
Yeah, they had a lot of 3D printers. That's what all those other things in the background.
Okay.
Yeah.
Herb had
Yeah, so basically, since I am sort of, I don't know what, they don't have a real name for it. It's like the board of directors or steering committee of the 3D printing group in Portland, and OMSI gives them the whole auditorium.
Oh.
So basically, when I was at the meeting, well, who has ideas for a table? I said, well, you know, I can get, and so this is the second time we've been there. I got the club in, and it's great outreach for the club.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, we're good.
It's fun seeing Gary and other guys. Okay, is there another? I'm still looking at the pictures in
the camel.
I'm still looking at the pictures. Oh, the camel. Well, there was a wonderful kickoff Christmas concert, and it's called the Singing Christmas Tree. And apparently, this is the annual, the 60-something annual Singing Christmas Tree.
Seems like I've heard
And that camel walks through the concert. The 3 camels. And I looked at it afterwards. And the lady that takes care of the props said that, she said, have you seen the Lion King show? And we said, yes, we did. And she said, with all those big animals carried around by people, she said, well, the guy that made those is in Damascus, Oregon, and we commissioned him to make these 3 camels. Anyway, there's the camel. There's a couple more shots of the camel.
Yeah.
One is a cha-cha, I mean increased camera width taken with a W3.
And please do not touch camel sleeping.
No, that was the reason to not touch it, but I got to touch it. The lady said it was okay to touch it a little bit. It looks soft, but it's not. But it's just amazing up close, the detail.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 3 pictures of camels.
Yeah, I think this is, that was the last picture. Yeah, we've seen all the pictures of camels, and now now we're at David's open projector.
Yeah, we've got a longtime friend that moved from Portland here to someplace in Arizona, I think, and he sent me these pictures of the eclipse, and obviously I converted them to 3D since he's not a 3D person. And the question I had, if anybody could see, there's just all kinds of problems with that sunburst. Can you tell me why? You know, it was there, but I tried to pull it out a little bit or anything. Any comments?
So I assume that sunburst was not actually during the eclipse.
Oh yeah, this is the start. This is daytime. Yeah. You know, you can see the mountains. Anyway, go to the next picture and you see now this is the first picture of the sun. There's the sun. And again, I converted I added depth to the mountain because they were all 2D pictures he sent me.
Yeah, but what was your question about the
sunburst? It just doesn't look right.
Well, I mean, I think that just depends on the lens on the camera that he took the picture with.
I don't know. I tried to put it behind the mountain, and no, that's not right. And I tried to put it in front of the mountain, and it still doesn't look right.
Well, because what happens is you're actually the sunburst has depth to it as you're capturing the rays.
Okay, that's probably what it should have been, like this, not flat, like it should be.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I'll try it.
Use your perspective tool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The sunburst was an extra layer, you know, that I put in Photoshop. Anyway, there's the first sun. There's another. I don't know how many. It's probably 20 minutes, 30 minutes, maybe half hour. I don't know. And there it again. And one more time, and you can see a little corner. There's the moon is exactly covering the sun.
Oh, because it was a ring eclipse, right?
Yeah, and he was in the
annular.
Annular, exactly. And there's just a little bit of the sun missing. I don't know what his camera was. I'm sure his camera was a lot better than what he sent over the email, because they were only 700 kilobytes of pictures that he gave me.
Yeah. So basically, I figure a total solar eclipse is spectacular. Any other kind of eclipse, lunar, annular, partial, maybe a little interesting. I mean, I wouldn't go out of my way for anything other than a total eclipse. I've been lucky enough to see 2 total solar eclipses. So
this next one is he sent me. That's the ones he actually sent me. And if you look on the C's, you know, he calls it something with a B. I don't know. They're little specks along there where it gets really skinny, and he says that's the mountains on the moon that's blocking the light from the sun, you really can't see it. If you zoom in, you can't zoom in there, but if you zoom in, you can actually see little points on the shadow of the sun, of the shadow of the moon. Anyway, he sent me that exactly, and I thought I'd play around with it. And there's the next one, and you can't get anywhere on the earth with enough disparity to see that. And if you were on the one side of the earth and the other side of the earth, guess what? There would be no eclipse on one of those two. Anyway, I thought I'd just be funny and make some 3D of the.
Okay, so thanks, David. So just a couple of announcements. I did send out an email, but this is just, you know, an additional reminder. The upcoming issue, the last issue of 2023 of the ISU Stereoscopic magazine will feature the Cascade Stereoscopic Club. And so I took, for every member of the club for whom I had at least one photo, I tried to find a photo. And so of the 32 members that we have, I submitted photos from 24 members. So those will all appear in that last issue for 2024. And basically, if you join now, George has basically said that that you'll get the last issue of 2024 as well as all 4 issues of you'll get the last issue from 2023 as well as all 4 issues of 2024. So that's a real bargain. If you are not already a member of ISU, you really ought to join.
Well, Herb, thank you. That's one very nice of you to get us all represented like that in that prestigious magazine.
Yes. Can I say something else?
Go ahead, George.
Also, in this magazine, there is always a column about a featured member, and the member is Herb. So he talks about himself in this magazine, and also there is a historical column. And in this column, I talked about Sab Levy, who died recently. So the entire magazine has a lot of references to the Cascade Stereo Club. Also, the membership is only $20 a year. Now, how come? And it's mailed from Europe. If I mail a magazine from here to Europe, it will cost me for one magazine $16 shipping. And they can mail 4 of them, and in this case 5, for only $20 a year. So that's a big argument.
And
You bet.
it's a full color magazine. How many pages are typically in an issue, George?
It's 36.
So it's really worth it.
High quality photos.
All right, check it out.
And so, anyway, the other thing is the January is the 30th anniversary of our club, and what the consensus of various club members were, especially since now in the age of Zoom, many people are not Portland area. We have members from all over the country, that instead of getting together for a dinner or a party, people said, hey, let's put together a special booklet. So basically, we've invited anybody who's in the club to submit images, which might either be photos or artwork. There's no need for them necessarily to be photographs. And any history or stories, talk about yourself, talk about 3D photography. Basically, if you submit that stuff, then Mark and I will edit it all into a booklet. So the deadline to submit material is December 31st. So I just wanted to remind people of that. And
Okay.
and so what I'd like to do is spend a couple more minutes talking about what's upcoming. So normally our meeting is the fourth Monday of every month. Many times it's the last Monday of the month, but sometimes there are 5 Mondays in the month. It's always the fourth Monday, unless the fourth Monday is a holiday. And so December 25th, the fourth Monday, is Christmas. So there's no meeting in December. So have a wonderful holiday, and we'll see you in January. And that always creates a little bit of a challenge for me, because with no meeting in December, it makes it a little bit harder for me to put together stereo views, but I think I'll go through and find stuff in my collection and somehow manage to get a January stereo views out. And then the January meeting, the theme is curves. And so, you know, we used to have themes that would be somewhat restrictive. Like, for example, there might have been a theme of national parks, and, you know, somebody who hasn't traveled and hasn't been to a national park, they'd say, oh, you know, it's too hard for me to get photos of your themes. And so what we try and do is make the themes more abstract, like contrast or like curves, so that you know, you can interpret those things in any way that you want. Like Steve had a different interpretation from Dave and a different interpretation from me, and anything goes. It's just a way to get you thinking and come up with some photos. So anyway, the theme for January is curves. We'll also choose themes for future meetings. And we'll select images for round 2 of ISCC. And in February, the theme is illusion, and we'll select images for the Code Folio 33. And that is the end of the formal part of the meeting. And so, as I said, you know, especially if you're on the East Coast and you're not a night owl, it's getting late, you know, thanks for joining. But I will hang around as long as there are other people hanging around. and we can talk about anything that people would like to talk about. Often we'll talk about Blu-ray movies or photographic techniques or what type of cameras people like. So basically, this is the end of the formal meeting, and happy to talk about anything that anyone would like to discuss. And I think I'm going to stop the YouTube. Stop streaming.